Hi, everybody. It's Mr. Gray here. Thank you again for another great week at school. As always, we have a lot going on, but I have some announcements for you. First, there is no school on Monday, February 16th. It's President's Day. And then the next day, we'll be back at school on Tuesday, February 17th. There is a Lunar New Year celebration happening in our class with some presentations, and lunch will be provided. So you don't have to send lunch that day if you don't want to. And then I have some more news about Open House. Open House will be Thursday, March 5th, and I have the time for you. It's 6 to 7 p.m., which is usually kind of around where it is. So definitely mark your calendars for that. Come out and see all the great work that your kids have been doing. We'll have really like a big showcase, a lot of their work that's going on right now. It'll be kind of a little bit of a celebration to see a lot of the hard work that they've been working on that represents how much hard work they've been doing this year. So that'll be really fun. The next day, Friday, March 6th, will be early dismissal at 1:05. There's a City of Irvine Art and Technology contest. There's a link for it in the updates that's due on March 6th. It's not really related to the school, but it's just there if you want to do it. And then spring conference signups. If I requested to have a conference with you, then you already received that email. And so those people are signing up for conferences right now. And once they are signed up, I will send out another email. I'm going to say it's probably be at the end of this coming week. So maybe Thursday the 19th or Friday the 20th. I'll send out an email to everyone that says you can sign up for the spring conferences for any reason. So if you want to have a conference, you just sign up and then let me know why you're signing up for that conference, just so I can be as prepared as possible for that conference. So that's coming up. Those spring conferences will be in the middle of March. And then, we have some flexibility on that time if something doesn't work for you, but hopefully we'll get those done before spring break. In reading next week, the kids are going to start book clubs. We were studying historical fiction books and what makes up a historical fiction book and what to look out for in historical fiction. And now we're shifting. The kids are taking that knowledge and we're applying it to American Revolution historical fiction books. And so we'll be doing that for a while. The kids will be meeting in their groups. They'll kind of make their own schedule and they'll all have a different job to do in the group. So they make a reading schedule, they come prepared, they have ideas to share, and they'll be kind of running their own meetings and then reporting back to me, showing me some work they're doing. But we're going to really focus on the American Revolution a lot over the next few weeks, and so that's going to be a thing that they're really focusing on. I'll be reading aloud the book I Survived the American Revolution of 1776 about a kid who's thrust into the middle of the fighting. So that'll be really interesting. In writing, we're working on our next unit is called information writing. And so they're writing a book that teaches about something. This first one that we do will require no research. It's just something that they know about that they can write about. So maybe it's a sport that they play or an instrument they play. It's about someone in their family or about their culture or about some hobby or interest they're really into. And so they're going to start writing next week and they'll be playing out the different sections. We'll be talking about all the things that make up a nonfiction information book that they can use to teach someone about something. So they'll have a lot of work to do for that over the coming weeks. In math, we're going to work on our collaborative three-dimensional city. We're looking at volume, and now they're applying their knowledge of volume to building up some buildings. And it gets a little tricky. Hopefully you'll see it at open house when it comes to fruition, but each person will be responsible for one little section of the city. But you can imagine if this is their part of the city, the person next to them over here and over here and over here and down here, it has to match. So if a road goes through their part of town, it has to go into the next person. So they're all going to be collaborating to make sure the city works and goes together as is planned, and also has these three-dimensional buildings. And they're going to measure the volume of those buildings, and there's a town council that's making the rules for how much green space is in each section, and which districts have an airport and which districts have a police department. It's complicated, but it'll be really fun. So that's starting. We started at the end of this week, but we're really getting to it next week, so it'll be really fun. In social studies, we're working on two projects simultaneously. The first one is a revolutionary reporter. So we're looking at the big causes of the American Revolution, and the kids are working in partners. And what they're doing is they're creating a big poster. On the front has kind of a visual representation of what events led up to the revolution, and on the back is almost like a newspaper that just focuses on those causes. So the partners will be working together, one will be working on the front, the other one will be working on the back, and then they'll switch back and forth until we get through all the major causes of the American Revolution. So yeah, our big focus is the American Revolution for a little bit here. In science, they'll go see Mrs. DeMarco for science lab, and then they're going to begin talking about where dead matter goes. Once plants or animals kind of die, what happens to that matter, and how does the decomposition feed the ecosystem? So that'll be really fun. We'll be meeting with our second grade buddies next week. They had been working on a story, like a little book they were putting together, and we'll celebrate that next week. And if you haven't asked your kids about that, it was a really kind of fun thing they made. And so that'll be a neat thing we're doing next week to celebrate that. We will play board games in this Kovacs class on Friday. We're working on physical fitness testing. We already did one this last week, flexibility testing, and we'll move on to a couple more. And we're also getting prepped for the mile run that's coming up as well. We're going to continue working on the photography project. They already, the last day they needed devices was February 13th. So if you are listening to this after February 13th, we do not need devices anymore. The kids have all their pictures, and now we're moving on to the next phase of displaying those photos. So if the kids need any help getting the pictures off their device and onto Google Drive, they can always check in with me, but we're all finished with the actual device part every Friday. So that's all the things that are going on. So many things are happening. It's very busy. Definitely mark your calendars for open house on Thursday, March 5th. No school on Monday, and on Tuesday, you don't have to bring lunch. There's a Lunar New Year celebration happening in our class, put on by some parents and some students in our class, and so lunch will be provided, all right? Have a great long weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.